all have a lot of friends that live abroad. A lot of them have lost money to family and friends. A lot of them have lost money because they're looking for cheap property. There's a Nigerian man that lives in America that wants to buy a detached house of 30 million, 20 million. So he wants to buy land of 500,000, 1 million. Of course, they will take him to one impossible location where he will pay his 5 million or 2 million. He will never see the land. Just listen very well to all those guys that will tell you that they've been burnt. There's a lot of them looking for cheap property. If you're a Nigerian in diaspora and your aim is to buy real estate at a certain USD amount, only to recover maybe times 2 of that in the next 2 years in USD, I would say just keep your money. Continue to buy in your dollars or in your New York. If you think that Nigeria's naira will become 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, you're joking. There's no responsible government that's going to watch the currency deteriorate more than this. This last 1 year has been a crisis period. This didn't used to be the case. I remember when Charles Soludo was the CBN governor, for 5 years, there was only a 30 naira movement in exchange rate. When Sanusi came in, he brought it down by 20 naira. There was only 1 naira movement for the whole Sanusi period of 5 years. You can check it out. You could plan. Right now, you almost cannot predict project outcomes.
You can't.
2 years ago, $1 million was 538 million naira. Now, $1 million is 1.6 billion naira. You cannot increase 3 times more. You can only do maybe 25% markup or 50% at the craziest. This period is not a growth period, it's a survival period.
We're buying reinforcement iron at 200,000 per ton. Today, iron is 1.4 million naira per ton. I bought the same reinforcement early this year at 500,000 per ton. We're buying today at 1.4 million. That's about 300% increase. We're not magicians. We have to deliver the building. It's as you buy that you sell. Then with the selling cement has increased in cost without informing anybody. So I can buy cement yesterday at 3,000. I'm going to buy at 8,000 just because somebody has said so.
Investing in Nigerian markets, Lagos is still the best market to invest in. We all know that because it's the commercial hub of Nigeria. When you're trying to convert your asset to liquid, comparing Lagos, Dubai, London, all of these states, Lagos is the quickest.
There are 2.3 million housing gap in Lagos alone. That's more than half of the population of Norway. So if you have only 10% of Lagosians buying real estate, that's 3 million. That's many countries. That's about 3 times the size of Gabon.
There will always be people looking for homes in Lagos. We're looking at 2.3 as at this moment. What happened in the next 3 years? What happened in the next 5 years? Sure. Lagos will always be a market. I'm working in Lagos. I'm also doing something in Warri. I can clearly tell you it is a night and day kind of experience. When you talk about sales, when you talk about demand for homes, if you're selling suites in Lagos, you could be a millionaire compared to some other places.
The richest man in Africa lives in Lagos. The poorest man also lives in Lagos, and all the in between. The 30 million population is a mixed bag of people. It's not the whole 30 million that can afford real estate.
The mid-market, the mid-income earners are being wiped off.
See, people in diaspora buy for different motives. It's not necessarily because they want to get return, rental income. You can buy, if I'm living in New York, why do I need to buy property in Nigeria to get a return? Your home is your home. COVID showed us that at the end of the day, your country is your country. If you could have what you have like in the UAE, where a whole country was banned, if you carried a Nigerian passport, even if you live in America, if you live anywhere, you could not enter the UAE. So if you have a jurisdiction where a whole nation can be banned, so imagine if you had 20 houses in Dubai.
But I had properties in Dubai and I couldn't even go into Dubai.
Exactly.
That was when I put everything up for sale. There's a problem in Nigeria. Use that naira rent to solve that problem. Yeah. It's just like putting all your money in shares or in bonds. No, you have to diversify across different asset class. The most stable asset class is still real estate. It's proven so over the years.
So if you decide to put your money in Lagos, like I decide to take my money and bid in America, I can go and bid anywhere in the world. But if I decide to invest here, I need not to be punished. I should be incentivized for investing here.
To be supported.
With the way we construct here, people carrying concrete on their head and all of that, you can have almost 500 people work from foundation to the end for a single project. All that does is that limits crime. You cannot carry concrete in the afternoon and go and carry a gun in the night to go and steal.
The energy wouldn't be there.
Anywhere you see high level of construction, there is low crime rate.
Everywhere in the world where anyone has done affordable housing, the government, they've intervened. Every other industry, however, in Nigeria, government has intervened. In agri, they do intervene. They give you money at 9%. CBN give you a lot of that money.
Bank of Industry.
But in real estate, for some reason, they're trying to solve affordable housing problems. In fact, with bankers, I think real estate is like down their list.
Governments have supported other sectors, but have done little to the real estate market. Rather, if you ask me, government policies have actually put us more in trouble than helping us.
I have to bid, but I also have to create roads, transformers, borehole, create all of the infrastructures myself, which does not happen anywhere in the world. I don't think I've ever built any house in this Lagos that I didn't do all of those myself.
Abba, none. It's not a bad thing. We have not built.
I'm actually trying to fix this.
Hello everyone and welcome to the KK Show. Key to Keys, where we'll be discussing everything real estate right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, today we'll be touching some salient points with some of the top developers right here in Nigeria. With me here, I have Mr. Nola, CEO of Veritasi Homes and Properties. Thank you so much, Mr. Nola, for coming.
Thank you very much, Confidence. I'm very excited to be here today.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
And we also have Mr. Akintola, CEO, Prestigious Homes Limited, the developer of that, those luxurious properties. Thank you so much, Mr. Akintola.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, good
nice
to have
be
you
here.
And we also have Mr. Blessing, developer of, those luxurious properties, CEO Standout Properties.
Yeah, Confidence. Thank you for having me here.
It's good to have you here, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we'll be discussing, salient points. We all want to know what's happening in the real estate market here in Lagos, Nigeria. And who else than these amazing individuals to discuss everything happening in real estate. So, Mr. Nola, can you give us a brief overview of the real estate market in Nigeria? Now, how have the prices influenced the real estate market?
Yeah, thank you very much. I would do a bit of justice to the question, hopefully. I would like to, first of all, say thank you to you for bringing me here. And then, talking about the historical data for real estate in Lagos and maybe Nigeria at large, we'll have to talk about some of the major events that rock the country and then the world at large. We'll talk pre-COVID. We'll talk after COVID. We'll talk the Nigerian general election and, and also all of that. I think it's very necessary we talk about that. Pre-COVID is when people then have, commercial properties, residential. Everybody wants to go to the office. After COVID, then the demand for residential building then surged because people then think that, they can work from home.
From home, yes.
And then, just from economics, the higher the demand, the higher the price and
exactly.
And yes, and then obviously again talking about the election period, after the election, removal of subsidy, removal of all of these things, the buying power became very low. A lot of people then became in Nigeria, the devaluation of the Nigerian currency, buying power for Nigerians in Nigeria became very low, and then obviously prices had to, really go up. After the general election, the USD or the pounds, the money which they owed become very stronger,
yes,
to the Naira. And then, then they have more buying power and then they can then buy
more properties, exactly.
More properties. Yeah. So comparing all of this, before COVID, low mid demand for residential property. After COVID, very high demand for residential property because people then want to work from home.
Yes.
After the election, strong dollars, higher prices though, but they can actually even buy more. But comparing all of these asset classes, I would say that for the diasporan market, I've said this before in different interviews. Investing in Nigerian markets, in Lagos, especially if you're going to invest in Nigeria, even if you're from Benin or you're from wherever in Nigeria, Lagos is still the best market to invest in. We all know that because it's the commercial hub,
that's true.
Of Nigeria. And then, the east and the east, not just the east, when you're trying to convert your asset to liquid, I think that comparing Lagos, Dubai, London, all of these states, Lagos is the quickest. I said it in different interviews,
yes.
Right? And one of the reasons why we're holding assets is so that sometimes when we need liquid to solve some of our monetary problem, we're able to convert to liquid. I have tried to sell property in London and 6 months later, 8 months later, we're still doing exchange, know. And then I've tried to sell in Nigeria like 1 month or 2 months, quick like this, right? So ease of conversion to liquid is very there. Capital growth, capital appreciation on those property is actually very high.
The Lagos market, the Nigerian market is very dynamic, and we all know that real estate is in cycles. It's alluded to the fact that pre-COVID and post-COVID has been different realities. Pre-COVID, there was demand for offices. You've seen that post-COVID, there's been a very sharp drop in demand for office development. Yeah. Because when companies saw that During COVID, they could operate. People could actually work from home. There was a lot of savings in energy costs. Okay, there was a lot of savings in per square meter rental, rent that they pay.
That's true.
So people don't want to go back to that pre-COVID era where, you have to be in the office, you're running electricity and all of that, So, but then also there's still why I wouldn't say the market for instance, for office have died completely, because we still have the corporate culture where people say you need to come into the office to be able to integrate into the employees, the corporate culture. So you see a lot of hybrid, work culture taking place, So like I said, let's say it's in cycles. These things come around. It's like fashion, So, but by and large, the market is a positive outlook. You have about 30 million people in this city alone.
True.
And just to give some data. According to the Commissioner for Housing, while he was addressing the audience at the IBTC Home Ownership Summit in June, he said there are 2.3 million housing gap in Lagos alone. The housing gap alone is 2.3 million. That's more than half of the population of Norway, the entire Norway. Okay, so if you have only 10% of Nigerians, of Lagosians buying real estate, that's 3 million. That's many countries. That's about 3 size the size of Gabon,
together.
Equatorial Guinea or whatever, So Gabon, yeah. So I would say it's despite the increase in prices, I wish we are going to get to, is a very resilient market, and the outlook is quite positive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To add to that, the advantage of Nigeria as a country, to do business for investors is tied to our numbers. Because the population. It is always a factor. If you see any investor bringing money to Nigeria, it is because they know the numbers are here. That also happens to Lagos. If you bring in a business to Nigeria, look at the population of Nigeria today and see what the population of Lagos is. So, he just mentioned 2.3 million housing deficit. What that tells you is there will always be people looking for homes in Lagos. If we're looking at 2.3 as at this moment, what happened in the next 3 years? What happened in the next 5 years?
True.
So Lagos will always be a market. Luckily, I'm working in Lagos. I'm also doing something in Warri. I can clearly tell you it is a night and day kind of experience when you talk about sales, when you talk about demands for homes compared to Lagos. So Lagos will always be a market. If you're selling sweets in Lagos, you could be a millionaire compared to some other places. So that also happened to home, because every one of us must live in a place.
Exactly. True.
If we have a serious government in the next couple of years that want to do more of housing, do you think people will still stay under bridges? So you see that you can't actually take away the Lagos market as far as housing is concerned. When I was to start my MIJ development in 2020, somebody told me that, with this time, COVID and all of that, do you think it is possible? Don't you think the project is too big and all of that? And I told the person, I said, let's just start. Because I know that this range of houses will always be in demand.
Exactly.
So it is just a matter of people seeing what you're doing, and you will see people. And that is why the advantage, part of what we have in Lagos that is an advantage to us as developers, is the fact that we are open to this instrumental payment. Because if you tell people to just bring the money on the table one-off, it will be an issue.
Exactly.
But because we've been able to understand the need of our people, we've been able to understand the pocket of our people and structure payment in that level. The room, the opportunity to buy into housing has increased. So that are part of the things that happen in Lagos. The Abuja market does not accept instrumental payment. So you can see the advantage between Lagos and Abuja, even though their properties are way higher than the market in Lagos. So the Lagos market will always be a market. There is no magic about it. The Lagos market would look at when post-COVID, you can see that the Lagos market picked up before every other market.
Yes.
Go back to during the economic meltdown. The Lagos market picked up before every other market. That is what the population in Lagos can't do. So it will always be a market. I would add to what Nola said that our market is still the market for every of our diasporan people. Yeah, because if your money must give you value. Lagos is the first market that will give you that kind of value. The kind of value you get from a market, a property in Lagos, you can't get it even in some places. And he talked about ease of converting your asset to liquidity. Here you can get it quite easily. I've seen someone, an expert and a valuer, who got a property in Abuja. For 6 months, they couldn't sell it. He knows that if that property was in Lagos, obviously it wouldn't take a month. This is a property that was finished, completely finished. It took almost 2 years. They were still struggling to sell it. So the Lagos market have its own dynamism. To have a home over your head is the primary aim of everybody that is going to work, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have a home. Buying cars and doing the other things are secondary, a home first. And when you have this kind of numbers you have in Lagos, people will always look for homes. So that is the advantage of Lagos over every other city in Nigeria.
Now, talking about the need, right? The cost of housing keeps increasing every day. As much as we have a lot of people out there who haven't gotten a home yet, the cost of housing keeps increasing. And Mr. Akintola, what do you think are the driving factors for this price increase?
To be honest, I'll say it a bit differently. I wouldn't say that the price of houses are increasing in the real value of it.
You're right.
Know? So if you bought a house at $200,000 equivalent in let's say 2 years ago, okay, I probably exchange it like 500 naira. Okay, so that would translate to like, let me even say 200 million naira house, okay, 2 years ago, and exchange rate was like
500.
So you're paying like, you'll be paying like maybe $100,000, or whatever. You'll be paying 200 million divided by 500, thereabout. Now, if you do the math, if I'm selling the house today, and I'm saying that same house is like 300, 400. If I say 300 million, okay, so what you had paid $400,000 for, okay, at exchange rate of 500, okay, in 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay, and I'm saying the same thing at 300 million naira today. Okay, at today's exchange rate was 1,005. You're actually paying $200,000. So I'm getting less. I've lost 50% of value. And if I'd given you payment plan, probably over 18 to 24 months, I've lost, and you've maybe before the crazy devaluation, you have paid only 20, 30 or 40%.
40%.
I lost a lot of value in the remaining 70%. Okay, there you haven't paid. So you just need to work the economics and see that the price, what is happening is our currency that is playing with that's messing with our head. We're not, as developers are not getting better value. We're actually making losses. Okay. Then look at the global trend. In most countries, even the West, even in the US, there's been high inflation. Okay. In fact, where the galloping inflation in Nigeria, we're almost going into almost what they call a hyperinflation. Not hyperinflation, we're not there yet, but to be honest, the inflation is so high. It's over 20, almost over 30%, if not more. And it cuts across even other commodities. It cuts across, it affects what you bought rice, a bag of rice 2 years ago is not what you're buying a bag of rice today.
Sure.
Yeah, what you bought cement. For instance, I was doing a project, when we were doing our La Vida project, about 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago, we're buying reinforcement iron at 200,000 per ton. Today, iron is 1.4 million naira per ton. I bought the same reinforcement early this year or late last year at 500,000 per ton.
Definitely.
Okay, on Lucky Forshore project. We're buying today at 1.4 million some months later. That's about 300% increase. We're not magicians. We have to deliver the building.
As promised.
It's as you buy that you sell. Okay, so the whole idea, the whole increase in cost in sale price is coming from increase in cost of production.
Exactly.
And all of this it's actually being caused by exchange rates, by our FS crisis. But it didn't used to be like this, to be honest. There was a time in Nigeria that for 10 years we had stability. So this last 1 year, this has been a crisis period. Okay, this didn't used to be the case. I remember when Charles Soludo was the CBN governor, okay, for 5 years, there was a movement only in 30 naira for 5 years. There was only a 30 naira movement in exchange rate. Then when Sanusi came in, okay, he brought it down by 20 naira, okay. Then there was only 1 naira movement for the whole Sanusi period of 5 years. You can check it out. There was 1 naira movement in exchange rate, So we didn't used to have this credit. Didn't used to be. You could plan. You could right now. You almost cannot predict project outcomes.
You can't.
Okay. In those days, you could predict project outcomes. You could do your costing, and you could go to the market at a certain rate. Okay. But my point is the real value, is the real price really increasing? Is in naira? Yes, maybe the volume, as you're now calling, 500 million, 600 million, 800 million, looking big. But in terms of the purchasing value of that money, it's even less than what you're calling 200 million. So in a crisis mode, which I think as things stabilize, is we're going to get over it. Real estate is in cycle, and I tell people, wait it out.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to continue to trade, wait out the cycle. Unfortunately, our business is not such that you can directly transfer the cost in a corresponding way that it is increasing. So, for instance, the Dangote selling cement has increased in cost. It without informing anybody, increases. So I can buy cement yesterday at 3,000. I'm going to buy now 8,000 just because somebody has said so. Okay, there's no consultation. It doesn't consult with me. The diesel guys, you can just go and you're buying diesel at this. So when cement goes up, of course, a block will go up. So the man making moving block to sell is, as he sells cement at this, it go tomorrow. Maybe yesterday if it was 400 naira, today it becomes 800 naira. But for me as a developer, can I sell house today at 100 million, and I come tomorrow, and I come next week, I say it's now 150. Then I come 3 weeks later, I say it's now once. Do you get what I'm saying?
So I was talking to you about this.
So we're not even able to, even if we tweak the price a bit because of the crisis, which is really is a must do if you want to develop the project. It is not still commensurate with the increase in cost you're getting in the market. So that's the reality of it. And I tell brokers every time, that yes, these prices are not going up. We're actually losing money. But we have to remain in business. When there's a crisis situation, when the economy is like that in real estate, all over the world, you have to look for what are the creative ways
to stay afloat.
To stay afloat, and within this crisis, continue to give value, to your customers. And that's why you're seeing a surge in interest in diasporans, interest in buying real estate in Nigeria. Because the truth of the matter is, why people are crying wolf, they are very happy.
They are very happy. True. They are very happy.
More affordable for them. What they would have bought 500K some years ago is now costing them 250.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So they are the one, So the market is.
I think I what you said now, sorry, just brought like some questions, right? You answered one when you were talking. Now, number one, so is the market now just for diaspora clients? Not for Nigerians.
It's not only for diaspora market. The Lagos market, like I said, is resilient, is dynamic. See, the population alone, having 30 this is economics, it's demand and supply.
Of course.
When you're having, it also happens in the US. Right now in the US, you're having high interest rates. When there's high interest rate, developers reduce production, right? So you won't see people bidding as they would because the demand is low because people don't want to buy because of high interest rate. Then what will happen over the year? There will then be a supply gap, right? Okay. Then if there's a supply gap, when the exchange rate then goes down, when the interest rate goes down, people want to buy. But there's now a supply gap. The price of the houses go up. That's what you're going to see in Nigeria. Even if Nigerians are not buying now, developers are slowing down.
Yes.
Because of increase in cost. So what you're going to see is there's going to be under supply in the market in a few years. So people waiting that think that, let's not buy now because you can get it. The prices are going to go higher. Because when things are now better, people now have a higher purchasing power. There will not be more demand and supply.
Exactly.
And of course, it's market forces. Price will go up. So I tell people, just the best time to even invest is during time of crisis. So a lot of people in 2008.
That was the best time.
2008, when there was the
meltdown. True.
The people were getting good prices, good value. The money was not there. That's the truth of the matter.
But those who must
even it was $100,000. The $100,000 was not there. It was not, But if you now look back, I see people that really bought a lot of. There's a guy in the US that bought hundreds of properties. Wow. 08. I've forgotten his name now. That is the greatest. That's the best decision of his life. He's now a multi-billionaire in the US just by what he did, transacted during 08. I'm talking about. In fact, the guy I was watching is that he bought almost 1,000 of. They were just buying. Was just buying. I see what is happening today. So people always say, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait.
Especially in a time of crisis.
Oh, yeah.
This is the best time to buy. You want to
I'm sure you have.
Oh, yeah. To be honest, I just want to buttress some of the things that he said, And then, first of all, I want you to know that not just business, also economic situation is cyclical. There would always be, downturns and upturns, and that happens everywhere in the world, right? And then just like he said, that this is the time of crisis in Nigeria. It's never really happened like that before, and then we have to manage it. But again, so he's spoken a lot from the diaspora, and but I want to speak from the people in Nigeria that buy real estate. The thing is, right? When I go abroad and I tell my people that we buy real estate with cash, not just cash, everybody will look at me like, oh, okay, how does that even work? Because, they're used to like
mortgages, yeah.
But there is almost no good mortgage system in Nigeria, meaning that there are very few buyers. Right, because this is how to buy property anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
You put something.
Just on mortgage covers it for you. You pay over time.
Covers it, right? You then see that's its number one. Very, very less demand, locally, right? And then this is the reason why, developers then have to, find a way and say, look, how do we then build and how do we sell, since local people cannot really buy shitty mortgage system at all. And that's why it's been talking about the diaspora and people. So the cost of property increase is not, nobody wakes up in the morning. I just, it's actually as a result of what has happened in the economy, right? It's, and then you look at the inflation rate, which is very imported, which the government people are not, they're just looking at the money, trying to use the monetary policy to attack it and not the fiscal, right? And then you look at some of us that use debt to build, there's some of our debt that we took at less than 20%, and then it's been floated to 30-something%. You have to pay down, right? Mm-hmm. So the cost of money starting from there is insanely high, right? And, a lot of developers import some of their finishing material, a lot of their finishing materials. You're trying to pay $1 million to China. 2 years ago, $1 million was 500 million naira or 538 million naira. Mm-hmm. Now, $1 million is 1.6 billion naira at this moment. But you've sold the property.
At less.
Or you are still selling. You cannot increase 3 times more. You can only do maybe 25% markup or 50% at the craziest, right? Knowing that even people don't have a lot of buying power. So it's a very tricky game. You have to be very. I used to be just a developer. Now I'm very much more involved in my finance. I sit in the accounting office in the data room. And then we're doing financial engineering.
Yes.
Just to break even.
Oh, yes.
To be honest. We're not just even thinking of profitability. We're just trying to break even.
Stay afloat. You mentioned it.
And then this period, to be honest, it's not a growth period, it's survival period. Just get your head above the water. And this is what most developers have been doing. So the inflation, the price inflation is imported. It's not just what anybody think about. It's important. It must be done. It's very necessary. It's uncontrollable.
Mr. Akintola, you said something. The cost of a house some years ago, if it was 200 million, if you bought it 200 million, right now it's even way lesser if you're converting it. So are you advising people to invest? That is, are you advising the diaspora clients? Because they invest in, I get those kind of questions a lot of times.
Yeah.
They invest in, they hope to see a good return on investment. And if you're saying that, okay, if you're investing now, probability by the time you want to get your money back, you're not going to see value. I think that's a very important.
Yeah. So what I said is that I'm not saying they're not going to see value. I said this is their golden period, if you don't want to buy, because it's been discounted for them, as it were. Okay, what they would have bought for $500,000 a few years ago, they can then buy now for $250,000, $300,000. Okay, so it's now affordable for them. It's cheaper for them in terms of if you earn FX and if you're if you convert your money to naira, you see a lot of money if you look at it from naira term, But I'm saying, you see, people in diaspora buy for different motives. It's not necessarily because they want to get return, rental income. You can buy, if I'm living in New York, why do I need to buy a property in Nigeria to get a return? But the truth of the matter is, you see, look at what happened during COVID, when people couldn't travel. Do you know a lot of Nigerians that have property in Dubai, they panicked? I remember when it was COVID, that people couldn't travel.
Yes.
People that have property in the UK, people that have property in Nigerians that live here, which is what Nola was trying to talk about, that not even diaspora, and then we'll talk about the people here that have the purchasing power. Okay? We're saying where you need to buy property is in Lagos. You see, Dangote was saying something a few days ago in an interview. I don't know if you saw the video, where he said he doesn't have any property anywhere in the world out of Nigeria.
Listen to that. He sold what he was having.
He says his employees, people that work for him have, but he doesn't have anything outside the country. Your home is your home. COVID showed us that at the end of the day, your country is your country.
That's definitely.
Did you see what happened? That if you could have, where you have like in the UAE, where a whole country was banned, if you carry the Nigerian passport, even if you live in America, if you live anywhere, you could not enter the UAE if you carry the Nigerian passport. So if you have you have a jurisdiction where a nation can be banned, except you carry another passport, you could not enter. So imagine if you had 20 houses in Dubai. I had the government that banned the whole Nigerians from coming there. Because people thought it was only Nigerians living in Nigeria alone. No. If you carry a Nigerian passport anywhere in the world, you could enter the UAE. So it showed you that, but can somebody ban you, a Nigerian ban you from Nigeria?
No.
So, I used to have a lot of properties in Dubai. And then for a while, though I could go in because I had this, but a lot of my friends couldn't go in. So they just to say something to the question. So everybody, you'll be in America, everyone is talking about investing in emerging markets. Why? Because the fruits are how did they say, it's still it's not saturated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still, so
pluck it.
You can pluck it, right? And talking about emerging markets or Africa, Nigeria is the golden boy, right? Talking about Nigeria is Lagos, right? So not even just real estate. If an investor wants to invest in telecom, the first place they think of is Lagos, Nigeria.
Because of the numbers.
If they want, because of the numbers. If they want to invest in oil and they think of Nigeria.
Yeah.
They want to invest. And how does a city get commercialized? By all of these people coming from all around the world, investing in different aspects of the economy. And that's the reason why real estate booms. Let's say 50, 40, 30 years ago, Dubai was nowhere. But, the influx of a lot of investors. Dubai real estate, really went up. And, when people say something like, what, I have properties in New York, why should I invest in Nigeria? And then I'm like, just what you have said, answer it properly. Like, I have properties in Dubai, but I had properties in Dubai and I couldn't even go into Dubai.
Exactly.
Do you understand? And that was when I put everything up for sale.
Absolutely.
And then people then do this of converting, the rental value in Nigeria, I want to convert it to USD. No. Exactly. There's a problem in Nigeria. Use that naira rent to solve that problem. Yeah. There is a problem if you have property in the UK. I have property in the UK. When I'm going to the UK, I do not take pounds. I do not convert my naira to pounds. I just go because I have a few pounds in the UK. I use my pounds to solve my pounds problem.
Absolutely.
And then I use my in Nigeria.
Solve
my, this is how investment work. When you're preparing a portfolio, you cannot prepare a portfolio. You cannot. It's just like putting all your money in shares or in bonds. No. Portfolio allocation is you have to diversify across different asset class.
Market.
And then if this the most stable asset class is still real estate. It's proven so over the years, right? And then even when you're diversifying inside the asset class of real estate, you have to diversify across geographical region if you must diversify. Do you understand? So if you're Nigerian, you're living in the US, you're living in the UK, in Mexico, in anywhere, you must own homes, not even homes in Nigeria. It's very, very compulsory. I am a serial investor. This is my own investment strategy, and it has worked, And then, and that's why I'm sorry for cutting. I just wanted to say that. So I can give the mic back to you.
I even want to add to this point. Well, I have had opportunity to deal with some of our guys who are in the US who bring a lot of money. Yeah, but they sometimes tend to think that, okay, fine, when I want to take, because of our instability of our money, if I want to take this money back, the value is less than when I brought it in. And I explained to one, I said, come, you've been in the US for close to 20 years, yeah? Over 20 years. You've done so much there. But if not for the past few years that you started coming home, you weren't having nothing here. You have $10 million, you have $10 million. Okay, let's say a $2 million, in the US. What does it amount to in what you do? Have that same money here. What does it amount to? So these are things you must look at. I tell people, I say, don't think about when I want to repatriate the money back, what value would it give me? Ask yourself, when you invested the money here, and even as at today, what is the value of that money? Real estate is one area where I don't think there have ever been losses, as in losses. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
If you produce a real estate with 10 naira, you can't sell it for 8 naira. It is not possible. If you do a real estate in the past 3 years for 100 million naira, definitely for today, the value of that property would have been times 2. No matter how you want to calculate it. So I have always advised that it will never go below. One area where you put money and you can sleep and sleep properly is real estate. If you put money in oil and gas, the risk on the waters, you and I know, is way higher. So I tell people, I say, once you can identify developers who performs, because that is key. Your location is right. All the dots, you put them together and they are right. Put your money. You can never make mistake with it. I have always said that and I'll continue to say it. You can't make mistake.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you.
Okay. Just for me to wrap up, also buttress what they've said. So if you're a Nigerian, in diaspora, and your aim is to buy real estate at a certain USD amount, only to recover maybe times 2 of that in the next 2 years in USD, I would say just keep your money. Continue to buy in your dollars or in your New York or in your stuff. Okay? But that might not happen with the current crisis.
No, definitely.
Maybe as our currency is strengthened, like I say, it's a cycle. Things are going to change. But if you have this motive that, yes, one day your children will come back home. One day yourself will come back home. Okay? And you see, we have a culture, right? Your guy, you've been in America for 40 years. You're coming home, you're sleeping in a hotel. Okay? Or your kids cannot even come because they don't have anything that draws them. There's a kind of a shame that comes with it. So I tell my friends that live in diaspora, the motive for you to buy real estate in Nigeria is not just financial. There are other things you must look at. I've met people recently. I've met top professionals in America. I'm talking about millionaires to billionaires in LA, in all of these places, in DC and all of that. That are at retirement age. I'm talking about older people. There was a time I did a trip across, state, and I was meeting 70-something-year-old people that had been in the US, post-qualification experience 40 years. They've practiced in America. I've met the top, some of the best oncologists. I've met some of the best, cardiovascular surgeons in America. That it is now, if you see the way they feel shame, it now dawned on them that all these they never had anything at home. In fact, for some of them, the kids have never been here.
Yeah.
Now they are so
no attachment.
so now it's like they've looked at there's a lot of regret, right?
They can't do much anymore at this age.
Do you know that I've had people that bought from us, in the past few years, that today are grateful. I say, Mr. Akintola, thank you, because their kids. It's after they purchased from me that their kids came home for the first time. I had this family that came home. The first son is 30-something. In fact, he came with his wife and is with his own child, the grandchild. So some of the children were coming home for the first time. Some of them left during Abiola Christmas. If you remember Abiola Christmas, I'm not too young to know about 91, 92, 93. They've not been back to Nigeria since Abiola Christmas. Wow. So, and the kids were coming back because they've not bought. So real estate pulls back.
Yeah.
It draws back. So we must look at our own culture. Nigerian. So that's why. So from that standpoint, I encourage diasporans to buy. And I'm saying this is the time. This is your best time to own a home now. You can't. It's not going to be. If you think that Nigeria's naira will become 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, you're joking. There's no responsible government that's going to watch the currency deteriorate more than that level. I'm telling you the truth. This is going to reverse. It's going to come down or at all stabilize. So that's what I'm saying. This is the cheapest they can buy for now. Because it's never going to continue. The country is not going to go under. The country is too resilient.
That's
to go
it.
under.
The country is too
go under.
It's too the biggest economy in Africa. It's not going to go. This
True.
last 1 year has been an anomaly in terms of all of this currency stuff, and the government is doing everything to address it with all of the measure. It might take time, but if you think that the currency is going to go to Zimbabwe like kind of, it's not going to happen. Even in Zimbabwe, they're doing a lot, exactly. to be able to reverse the trend. So we need to give people the right thing. So I'm encouraging all diasporans that live in that. If you want to buy, if you have any interest in owning, even if it's a studio home in Nigeria, this is your best time. Go and write it down.
Now.
It is the diaspora buyers market. This is your best time. It's not cheap for you. It will never be cheap like this. It will never be cheaper than this for you.
I want to add that the real estate is the most secured investment that you would do in Nigeria, even in the world at large. Now, once you're not here, I'm talking to our people in the diaspora now. When you're not here, there are certain businesses you set up that needs you to be on it at every point in time. If not, it will go down. I mean, we've seen factories shutting down because of poor management and all that. But the money you put into real estate, I mean, it doesn't need you to come and give it petrol or something. The moment it's delivered, it is delivered. It will continue to appreciate. So those are part of the advantages that come with real estate that some of the other sectors doesn't have.
It's the buyer's market. Both diaspora, both those in Nigeria, it is the buyer's market. You said something, developers are not really building.
Absolutely.
We have several right now in the market. This is the time to take advantage. And I love the fact that you also gave some statistics that, we had the meltdown in 2008. These things don't happen all the time. Situations like this are not common. Mm-hmm. Yes, they happen, and it's a global phenomenon. It's not just in Nigeria here, because I interface with clients a lot, and everyone wants to capitalize on the present situation and make it a universal issue or something that keeps reoccurring. But we've seen it, and with everything you've said, happened in 2008, someone took advantage of that opportunity. When people were scared to invest, the stock market, everything was dying down in 2008, someone took advantage and he invested massively, and then in COVID, I think I sold more properties in COVID because a lot of people took advantage of, I guess they understood what happened in 2008. So a lot of people took advantage in 2020. And you and I can testify to the fact that things have not remained the same. Those who bought then, of course, have seen drastic appreciation.
COVID, it was a huge market compared to what happened. You mentioned a year ago. We've all seen things going down. But between 2020 and 2021, 2022, it was a huge one.
Yeah.
True. Now we've spoken about Lagos being a good place, the market is good. So how can they, enjoy? As much as we have people that are buying, to have a second home, a lot of people are also looking for something with, good investment. So what are the strategies to ensure that they are getting value from their investment?
In my first speech, I made mention of the advantage of the Lagos market over some other markets when I talked about the installmental payment option. Is one strategy.
Okay.
I have always mentioned that if you wait till when you have the whole money to buy a property, you may end up, you will wait endlessly.
True.
Yeah. But with this option of doing installmental payment, imagine 100 million naira worth of a property. You may not have 100 million naira kept somewhere. Mostly in an environment where there are no mortgages. Even where there are mortgages, the mortgage expects you to pay a percentage as your own contribution.
True.
But this instrumental payment is one strategy that have worked for us in Lagos, where you drop so little, and before you know it, you are.
Period of time.
I had someone who got the property from me before bed. When she got this property then in 2021 January, the property was how much? 58 million naira. As of February last year, and she got 25 months payment plan.
Wow.
Yeah, as at that time we were doing 5 million deposit, but she did 20 million naira. She told me, she called and she said, she's in the UK. I'll do a 20 million naira against your 5 million deposit, but I want 25 months instead of 18 months as at that time. And I said, okay, fine. I'll play around the figures and I mean, something we can deal with. And we went ahead with the transaction. As at the time she was paying her last payment, after the 20 million, she was paying 1,510,000 monthly. Obviously, she missed some of the months. Yeah. At the time she was doing her last payment in February 2023, the property was already 140 million naira. Same property that she've not finished paying. But as at the time she was doing her last payment, the property was already 140 million naira. That is a strategy, the strategy of instrumental payment. If you leave people to bring 100% money to buy properties, you and I know that not just properties, to buy stuff, it will be difficult because the purchasing power is not that huge. But when you have that payment option, it has helped so easier. Yes. So one strategy that I worked in Lagos that I know of is the option of installment payment. It has worked. It has helped some people who never dreamt they could own a home to be multiple homeowners today.
Exactly.
Because they just look at the figure, small.
Sure.
Before you know it, I've had someone come to me and say, thank God for this thing. I never believe I could put 40 million naira together.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So that is one huge one. When you're buying a property, ask questions. Because if you are able to get the right answers to all your questions and you put your money, you have succeeded in taking care of the crisis that would have come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is one second strategy I would advise is ask your questions. Do your necessary, due diligence. In order, when you're paying for property, there are developers that have shown over the years that we can deliver.
Yes.
So your ability to get the confidence, to believe in her to say, this property I'm pushing out to you, have all these things put together and you're able to raise money and get that property. That's one strategy. Being able to understand what you're buying. You must do that. You also look at location. If you're deciding to buy property for rental income, you and I know that an Ikate will give you much more value than a Badore.
Yeah.
The prices of the property may not be too different apart. So you must decide, why am I buying this property? Am I doing for rental income? Am I just doing it to keep money down and see how it grows over the years?
True.
Am I buying this property because I want to have something at home so that whenever I come home, I'm able to do what? Use it. Or I'm buying a property for Airbnb. So these are strategies. You must put all these things together when you want to buy. So location now, that's where location now comes in, because you must decide why you want to buy the property and get all the factors that could support that reason why you're buying the property. I have this loose money that I don't want to do anything with right now. I can put it somewhere instead of putting it in the bank. If we're talking about Nigerian banks, where COT charges at the end of every month, you have debits, even when you are not touching the money. You may tell yourself, I have this money and I want this money to be in this figure in the next 10 years. Where can I put it? I have said this and I'm repeating it. the best place is in properties, is in real estate, because it doesn't, once you complete the project, it hardly takes from you. It has value. Lagos has shown so much resilience.
Okay.
Lagos has shown that once you keep faith, it only takes a bit of time. You achieve that set target. Look at the number of people who come to Lagos every day, every year. As far as this Nigeria is concerned, if we have a 10,000 number of graduates coming out of NYSC yearly, you and I know that almost half of it, Lagos is their destination.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you see what the market is. So these are things you must look at your head and look at the strategy you want to. I have outlined this, and I'm capping up by saying that because the market is huge, whenever you put money in Lagos, mostly in this environment, real estate, where we are all expert, time have shown that there are no losses. It is always positive. It might not be, sometimes it might not be the figures may not be the way you want them, but you do not put money in real estate in Lagos and you come out in 3 years and say, I have losses. It doesn't happen that way.
That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So before I open the floor to everyone, I just wanted to touch something. Having been in the market as a broker for a while, I understand what clients, their fears, their concerns. You said something about, paying in installments. There are lots of clients, I listen to their concerns. They've been beaten and they've paid for properties 8 years down the line, 5 years down the line, nothing. So that's another concern. While I try to let them understand that, look, I was still talking to a client last night about the same thing, that the real estate market absorbed a hit like never before this period. And a lot of developers, of course, the time frame would actually shift from what had been agreed before. But I can also say that in every industry, you have people that are doing the right thing. You have ups and you have downs. So we can't use those who have made mistakes in their business to judge those that can be the general knowledge. I just wanted to put that out there, because talking about, I know people out there be like, no, nothing off plan again. I'd
rather wait and drop my money.
And the thing is, waiting to drop your money, the price will not be the same. I have clients that say, you know what, when I've seen it gets to the, roofing stage and all that, I want to buy. And then they come back wanting to buy at that price, it's not the same. So what he said, it's important that you know the background of whosoever you're dealing with. You do your due diligence. And at the same time, we can't use just one experience to generalize, the attitude of different developers. Mr. Nola.
Okay, thank you. I mean, my brother he said a lot, but I'll just go a bit above what he said. So I think the first strategy, since every client want huge capital gain in their property, is to buy off plan. Imagine some of the properties we sold some 3 years ago, Nikate at 40 million. That's 100 and something million now. That's like 300%.
Yes.
And then I'm sure there are a lot of properties like that also. So that capital gain is already out there. And then obviously there's a lot of companies now that help people put the same properties on, bookings.com,
Airbnb, exactly.
To maximize the rental income that they could get.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I would just prepare a little portfolio for you now. It's like one of the things that I did, when I bought something in Eco Atlantic, I didn't buy offline, but I bought very cheap then. And then I remember that as soon as I bought that one, the person that sold to me also called me to say, oh, there's some expatriate that wanted to rent for 5 years. I remember I bought that property then for 500K USD, but Naira was very, then and, so, but I got 30K per year.
Wow.
Yeah, 30K per year, 30 something K actually, 150K. So that 150K, it was in an account for a while. I used it to buy a treasury bill, a treasury bill, So, and it was, then the rate was high, and then that treasury bill certificate, because I kept, I was taking facility against it. Yeah.
So
look at it. So now I own a property. I own treasury bills. Right. It was Eurobond actually. So that means it's in USD. And as the dollar increases, the value of my bond increases. And then I was getting a Naira facility against it. Remember, I collected the rent. It was the rent that I used to buy.
And then the facility, 5 years.
And then the facility I could use to do other things. I could even use to buy another property. So imagine from one property, I got rental value. From rental value, I got another investment in bonds. And the bonds, I got money against the bond. And then
new property, new
project. And also there's a lot of ways that if you meet people, that's why they can help you, you can have maximum return. Imagine someone bought property from him for 58 million. The property is probably like 200 million.
Oh yeah, no.
Solidly giving maybe like 10 million naira per year.
Yes.
I'm correct?
Yes. The rent, yes.
If that's normal rent, if it's
Airbnb.
Of course, that would have been times 2. Yeah.
20 million. And that same property can be placed down for a facility that can even help you,
do other things.
Right. So you have almost used the property to, get like
do so many other things.
Many other things. So I think that these buyers, the diaspora, just need to listen to people like yourself,
Exactly, because exactly.
And then you just make them very rich,
Absolutely.
But again, buying in crisis period with very good price, maximizing your portfolio, not just doing whatever with it. I think it's one of the best thing that you can do as a buyer.
Okay, thank you. You want to say something?
Yes. Just to add to what my colleagues have said, for us as prestigious homes, in addition to everything they've said, I'm sure they also do the same. In order to ensure our buyers have better return, we look at the quality of build. Okay, because if the house is not good enough, maybe you get rent for 5-10 years, and that is it.
You start doing.
You go to the US, there's houses of 50 years, 100 years that's still in the market. So we look at the quality of build, so that when you come back home after 10 years, after 15 years, your property has retained value. Okay, you're not coming to see a rundown property. We take our facility management is very key. We do not, what's the word? We're very strong on it. We do not joke with it. You've heard Nigerian maintenance. People say our maintenance culture is poor. So in this climb, so we ensure that we operate above that realm of saying maintenance culture is poor. So we stand our ground. We ensure people pay the right facility management fee, and we ensure the properties are in top shape. Because we have clients, we have sports stars that bought from us over the years that don't live here. They live in England, they live in the US as a result of their trade. When they come after retirement, after the man, I have Super Eagles guys that bought from us. When they come after they finish, we want to be sure that the property retains value.
Yes.
But that is all they have.
They've saved with their money.
A lot of these guys have very high risk, even marriage risk, a whole lot of kind of stuff. When they come back, this is what they can depend on. Want to ensure that they retain value. Okay, so that is very key. Quality of build. Another thing we're doing, our prestigious homes right now is, and my colleagues also, I'm sure they're doing it, they can also learn from it, is we're trying to encourage the diaspora buyers. Like Nola said, a lot of these guys are used to buying through financing. They are not used to cash
transactions.
There are people that buy in the US in cash, but then if you want to get across to the wider net, you want to increase the net of buyers, you need financing.
Exactly.
So we're talking to banks. We have banks that are willing to work with us to provide diaspora finance, mortgage to diasporans. So we have the different banks. We have like 2 or 3 banks right now.
Oh,
saying,
really?
Yes, they're willing to advance
to
mortgages.
The diaspora market.
To the diaspora market. They are willing right now.
That on the table.
They are willing to advance it. So a lot of this. So we can reach out to this. So these are diasporans can actually, access financing, as to speak. And some of them are even more comfortable that they're going to be dealing with developers through the banks. Right?
Oh, okay.
They're going to be dealing with through the banks. So the bank that then provides even further credibility to the transaction.
Yes.
For those that are concerned, see, we all have a lot of friends that live abroad. A lot of them have lost money to family and friends.
True.
A lot of them have lost money because they're looking for cheap property. I'll be very frank with you. is a Nigerian man that lives in America that wants to buy a detached house of 30 million, 20 million. So he wants to buy land of 500,000, 1 million. Of course, they will take him to one impossible location.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Where, he will pay his 5 million or 2 million. He will never see the land. So just listen very well to all those guys that were telling that they've been burnt. Is a lot of them looking for cheap property. Looking for impossible
deals.
Impossible deals that when you hear it, they pay 500 naira every day. We hear all kind of adverts on radio and on TV every time. People try to mop up money from the economy. They're not credible. So when you deal, and I tell people that, bro, I say, do not deal with anybody you cannot arrest. Carry your money and give to your brother 100 million, 200 million. You come back, the man has not even reached lintel level. You want to arrest him, your family member will say,
messy.
So we must understand our culture. Do business with those you can arrest. Do business with those that are credible. If your money cannot buy 20 houses, buy one in a correct location. The real estate is a very local business. The real estate dynamics in Lekki, Ikoivia may be different from Minnesota.
Sure.
Real estate in Lagos is different from Ibadan. It's a very local business. Real estate in LA, in Beverly Hills, is different from New York, Manhattan. Even different. Manhattan is even different from Brooklyn within the same New York. You must understand the dynamics of where you're.
Of the
in
location.
Lagos, what determines value is traffic. Okay, the closer you are to the center, the higher the value. Even when you're reselling, I tell you, when you're buying Lekki, Ikoivia, the price may be high.
But look at the return.
But when Nola was talking about liquidity, when those are Lagos, the richest man in Africa lives in Lagos, the poorest man also lives in Lagos, and all the in between. The 30 million population is a mixed bag of people, right? It's not the whole 30 million that can afford real estate.
Not at all.
So if you buy your real estate in the wrong place, it will be in the market for 20 years. You cannot resell. Because even when things are down, I really think that when things are down, the guys the billionaires, the millionaires are still, they are not, maybe they lose some money. They are still the one that can play in the market. So if you buy a real estate in the wrong location, you're not going to be able to resell. Because people that have the money to buy will not come to that location, no matter what you do. In fact, there are people in Lagos that will not cross that Lekki link bridge, no matter what you say. Very correct. And that's when they're looking for where to live.
Sure.
Then there are some people that don't even know that a place like after a cathedral roundabout exists.
Exactly.
That live in this Lagos. So you must do your research. Talk to people like Eden Oasis. Give them the right counsel. Let them buy property in the right location at the right price. At the right price. I'm not calling developer every day, morning, day, and night. As if you're buying tomato. Price. These are how the things are. These are how that increase my overall temper.
You price before you get trouble.
Understand? So we try to grandstand on our price. We get our pricing right to grandstand on it because we want to deliver on project.
Yes.
So when people say, "Mr. you're too rich," you say, "Yes, I'm rich because I want to deliver." People and when people see that you deliver, you see they will come.
Exactly.
See, post-COVID, we started immediately after we started La Vida. We're selling at 120 million per terrace. So people still say it's too expensive.
No, definitely.
People always tell you anything is too expensive. Even if you tell them 29, it's too expensive.
Definitely.
That property today, people are looking for. There's no one for sale. People are looking for, begging for a 350 for terrace they can't see. People are pricing at they cannot get one. Not one is available. Then the rental value, because we did a great job, the rental value for terrace is 15 million. For me, it's 18 million in that location. Okay, there is no single one available for rent. No, not a single one. People are just linked to we're screening people to rent. You see what I mean? If you do a great job as well, do quality of build, there are people that value the population. There are people that can afford this, but they want the real value. They want value for their money.
Sure.
There's nothing like money misroad. So give to encourage developers, give people value. These are hard-earned money. Do your costing, stand with your price. There will be people that value what you're doing.
Or put the money on the table.
Not come and pay me 10 million. Then you want me to put a hands growing for you.
Swimming pool and all those
happen. So that is it. Just know your market and just sell.
I think you just touched my next question. I was going to ask you because everybody here, I believe you've explored both sides, from Chevron, Ikota, Kids side, all the way down to Shongotedo, and you've touched both markets, right? My question is now, which areas in Lagos are showing a high growth potential? Let me start with you.
Okay. Yes. Like I said, the richest man in Lagos, the richest man in Africa lives in Lagos. The poorest man
also lives in
Lagos. And this thing is, I used to tell people that, okay, for us, our development is, because we're already very busy, so Ikoyi, in VI, Ikoyi, Lekki, VI, not beyond Lekki phase 1 for us. For some, we built in other places before, built in Osakpa before, we built in this, but for some reason, that is where our market is for now.
Why?
Right. We're already even very busy in that market. We're saying, where are the people that can afford real estate?
What I'm doing.
See, if I'm looking at the other side of me that I want to house the whole Africa, okay, I want to do affordable housing. But affordable housing is almost impossible. Private sector, private developer can do affordable housing, right? Look at the farthest of places. How much they sell land in Shagotedo? Land is already like 50, 60 million. Even no more than that. So that's beyond that cost of land is already the price of affordable.
It's not. That can't give you affordable.
Man there's not more than 10 million to buy a house. So it is not possible. So government have to incentivize, government have to provide land for all of those. So now, the people in Lagos that have the money to buy real estate, they don't want to live far. They don't want traffic. You see what I mean? You'd be surprised that the person that have 200 million in Lagos is the same person that have 400 million. The same person that can afford 200, that can afford 400, that can afford 600. So where does the person want to live? Does the person want to enter traffic of 2-3 hours coming from Chevron every day? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're following the demand for those that can afford the real estate. You get people that want to come from diaspora, that want to come and live here, or when they come, their family, they are concerned about security. They're saying they don't want to keep their kids waiting in traffic for several hours. So that is our own analysis. It could differ. You see, and that's why I say it's actually subjective, because I've seen people. This is what I'm telling you now. Why it may not hold 100%. It's about understanding. So that's my own market. Apart from the fact that there's a certain way I want to finish. If I build today in Orchid Road, I'll make huge losses because my construction cost will be times 2 what people are selling there in Orchid Road. You see what I mean? Because I want to build in a certain way. I'm buying rod at 1.4 million per ton. And that person will use a different kind of rod at a different price, which I cannot use because our business, objective. So there's a certain way we build, and the certain location match is the only way we can recover money, that our sale value, our sale price can match our construction cost. You see what I mean? There's a certain level of finish you want to do that it is only if I do it, I can only do it in Ikoyi, because it depends on how to buy Ikoyi that can pay for that.
Exactly.
So if I'm already a sanitary, a toilet is costing me almost over 1 million naira in a bathroom.
Wow.
I don't want to put that in Orchid Road. Because the man that want to buy Orchid Road want to buy a house of 40 million, 45 million. That's not up to the cost, half of the cost of my cinema. I'm doing a cinema 70-something million. Do you get for a house? So by the time I put all the cost of kitchen, of the cost of what I'm doing in one house, minus foundation and my building cost, the accessories, all the paparazzi I put already more than 200 million. I'm doing I'm doing Daikin Central AC already, for one central AC for one house is already costing me almost like, $100,000 USD. You see what I'm saying? So so the location, the type of development, the type of project that you want to put in the market at a certain time. Don't be surprised. Tomorrow you may see me doing 2,000 in Dangote refinery. Maybe the market has moved to that. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So those are but just to round up, so I used to see all of them. Some people will tell me that, and that's why Lagos market I say is very dynamic. Someone told me that, Mr. Akintola, I said, do you know my estate it's not even here, but one place in mainland. He said the cheapest terrace there is 250 million.
Yes.
I was surprised because a lot of people be offering me, come and do in the come and do this. I don't want to do mainland, But people tell me that in this Lagos, people live everywhere.
True.
I'm telling you, I had developers. If you hear the price of a property in Ikeja, there are some people.
Ikeja is like Ikoyi.
There are some people that there's nothing you do. There are some of these lawyers.
Yes.
There's nothing. If you talk from now to tomorrow, they just believe that one day water will take over the whole.
Yes.
So they can make me like Ikeja Jare.
Yeah.
I see the price. Yeah, the price. So it's just
very pricey.
So it's a very dynamic market, to be honest. Just understand. But for us, that is where we're operating right now. So speak today. There are guys that are mainland that they are doing greatly well. Because there's some people that will not live beyond mainland.
Exactly.
Let me say a little to what you've said. You've absolutely killed it. Because of what is happening, in the Nigeria economic situation, what then happens is the mid-market, the mid-income earners are being wiped off.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So either people are
rich,
or poor. You're done here.
right.
There's no in between.
Good. So before now, you then say, you want to do affordable housing for I'm so sorry to use for low income earners.
Yes.
But what then happens is everywhere in the world where anyone has done affordable housing, the government, they've intervened, right? buy land,
roads, infrastructure.
In every other industry, however, in Nigeria, government has intervened. In agri, they do intervene. They give you money at 9%. CBN give you a lot of that money, despite the fact that it was. Don't let me go there.
Bank of Industry.
But in real estate, for some reason, they're trying to solve affordable housing problems. But the government has not. In fact, with bankers, I have a lot of developer friends that will say, you know what, I've been trying to raise money. Can you help me talk to this MD? Let me talk. I think real estate is like down their list of people that they want.
Of course. Right. Because government has actually made it so.
Good. So the affordable one is so difficult. I mean,
as at this moment, take that off.
Very, So where do you then want to play? Right. So since people are either rich or poor, so from the financial point of view, you have to, go to where the rich people want to live.
Must be for the market, not be for yourself.
Exactly.
Yes, so, I have done a lot.
Yes.
You've done in Nikate, this.
You've done Shango Tedo, you've done Abijo, you've done those areas.
But you didn't look at it right with the amount of houses that we've built. We did 200 units in wherever Abijo, spend a lot of money. There was one time I took a builder there and it was like, oh, you're putting this quality here.
Yeah, I see.
Go back to what he said about what he wants to, but what he must deliver, but are people willing to pay for it? No. And that's it. And, at the point, I'm like, you know what, you are a finance guy and you're being this stupid. You're putting this amount of money.
Where you're not...
where should I have put it? That place. But what was I doing then? Following the vision and mission statement of the company. Right.
Sure. Provision of
houses.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes you have to look at the profitability of the vision. The vision and mission statement is very great, but the
reality,
the economic terrain there would it support it?
Align, yeah.
Right. It must really align. And this is the reason why I fully support him about the market, the luxury market, the Lekki, VI, Ikoyi. I think it's the way to go. All of the projects we're doing in Ikate would be good, would be delivered, everything would be fantastic. But that's where to play.
Do you want to touch?
Yes. Maybe because I'm also one thing I know, because when you said where is the market going as an investor, what should you be looking at? So many other factors also come to play. Unfortunately, government, it may mentioned how government has supported other sectors, but have done little to the real estate market. Yeah, rather, if you ask me, government policies have actually put us more in trouble, than helping us. Yeah, but when you talk about locations that drives real estate, you look at where is development happening? Where is government or where are strategic industries, investment and all of that are being set up? It drives real estate. It increases the value of real estate because people tend to move towards where things are happening.
Things are happening, exactly.
Yeah, and the Lagos Calabar Coastal Rail Line road is one of it. I can tell you for free that in the next 3 years, the land value in Oniru at that back that the Oniru, I can say land value is about 700,000 per square meter now. If you come to Ikate here, it's about 350, maybe 200, 250. But give that place in the next 3 years, value of land will probably be in Oniru will be close to 2,000 per square meter. Yeah. Ikate here to Jakonde to Benfo down the line, the properties in that corridor will definitely increase. They may go times 3, times 4, times 5 because of that infrastructure alone. So that helps, the value, they drive in real estate. Because once there are development, government interventions in an area, it attracts people to that corridor. Imagine what office spaces will be like in that corridor in the next 1 or 2 years. Imagine do you understand me? So these are some of the things. Imagine where government sites, let's say a power generating infrastructure. ordinarily that alone will attract industries to that location.
Exactly.
Of course, yes. Because, or imagine a big market being set up somewhere, where when we talk about raw materials and we'll talk about nearness to market, So these are the things. These are some of the things that are, going to drive real estate in the next couple of years.
Yes.
Infrastructure within a corridor. I just cited the Lekki the Calabar Lagos Coastal Road, and that's where our Blown Towers comes in, provision of both office spaces and residential. Take that stretch all over.
All the way.
So I see Oniru as a huge market in the coming years.
Okay.
Ikate have shown in the past 5 years that is also, maybe because of, do I use the word maybe? Because of its proximity to Lekki Phase 1.
I think Ikate was the affordable.
Yes, but Ikate is no longer affordable.
Yes.
Ikate is a great location.
Exactly. But 5 years ago, it was, do you understand? Because it was more like wannabe Lekki. Oh, yes. But today,
Lekki.
Yes, but today, you cannot differentiate it.
Yes.
The price of what you buy in Lekki Phase 1 is same as what you buy in Ikate as of today. Imagine Chevron a couple of years ago. So that is what happened when development sets into a place. So yes. So those are the things, one need to look at when you're looking at where to invest your money. You must look at the development indices of that corridor, and play that in your head, do the figures and see what you see the place to look at. When I was to start MIGL, the value of land there was 110 per square meter. Today is over 200. Is running close to 300 today. Just within 2020 and now. So these are the some of the. That's the point I want to add to what my colleagues have stated.
So I'm going to touch one area right now that I think everyone really would have something to say, and that is government policies and real estate regulations. Mr. Nola.
Problem.
Now, how have the current government policy affected real estate development in Lagos? Are there any recent regulatory changes that investors should be aware of? You're smiling.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have always said this. I'll say what I think, and then
and leave the rest.
Right. So I said this, right. I was talking to my brother one day, I think it's this place, and I've said to him that, look, everywhere in the world, right, the government don't do great projects. It's the private sector that execute great projects. The government creates an environment, right? The finance space sometimes, right? I was reading the contract of the government and the Shaguri for the coastal road. Is Shaguri's project is going to affect positively, the economic upturn of the country. I think he was given a sovereign guarantee to go raise money. See, sovereign guarantee, that's from the financial point, and fully backed up by the government. Right, when they came, right, fantastic. That's a very good infrastructure, and this is the way I think that everything should be like. In the UK, one of the best projects that they've run for over 100 years is the coast. What's the one that we tap with card? The train, the underground train, right? And then it's not fully owned by the government in the UK. It's owned by a company in Singapore, and then I think the government owns like a few percentage of it. Backed up, everything by the government. So the government will create, even in America, a lot of roads, prisons, electricity, good system. Government creates, that enabling environment. The private sector comes in, invests, and everything thrives. And then if you then bring into Lagos, would you then argue that that's the same thing has happened? No. And then, it's one of we're talking about cost of houses, right? And one of the very main, main thing that must be mentioned also, that the reason why cost of houses are skyrocketing is because I have to build, I have to do all of these things, but I also have to create roads, transformers, borehole, and all of these things, create all of the infrastructures myself, which does not happen anywhere in the world. I saw a friend of mine built in Upper Marlboro in Maryland. The only thing he did was built the house and everything was plug and play. The roads that lead to the land, the government supplied electricity, whatever.
Water pipe.
Just the infrastructures were there. I don't think I've ever built any house in this Lagos that I didn't do all of those myself.
Abba. None. It's not a bad thing. We have not built.
I'm actually trying to think. I have brought the transformers. I've fixed the our projects in the car. I've told you, come and do. You said, it's flood the road to the places. Every project we fix the road. And maybe because the construction is still ongoing, that's why we've not fixed that, which I've told my people to go and fix right now. So look, now I have to create all of these infrastructures myself. There are really no much enabling environment. We're trying to perfect the tie to, there's a consent of ours that's been in Alausa for 2 years. And then I think we were just giving,
assessment.
No, we've even gotten assessment. We've paid everything and all, and then, signed everything, just upload and say, no network, no all of these things. And this is surprising, so all of these things happen, makes it very tough, difficult to do business, very hard, and then if you're like, there are a lot of things that I want to say, but however, to look at the positive side, I spoke to some of my friends that are part of the Red and, about what, they are engaging the government on the real estate space. I think, there are some plans, some very positive outlook, and then we hope that all of those things are going to be executed in the shortest run. But for me, I think that the government policies have really the government policies. I'm trying to say the government policies have really affected
our business
negatively the real estate in the real estate space, especially in Lagos, with which I remember I was in Alausa one time. Not even Alausa. I was speaking to the number one time, and he said real estate is like the oil. The land is like the oil in Lagos.
Yeah.
Right. This is where most of the IGR comes from. So if something, it's just normal business. If something, any project that makes you the most money, you focus on it. And then you spend
the support you can and all of that.
But this the same, you see a lot of demolitions, despite the fact, obviously, a lot of some developers as well
have not done well, yes.
They contravene, they don't, tidy up that documentations, they don't do all of this, right? But there's always room. Even when you take someone to court sometimes, and you expect litigation to start immediately, they say, we'll send you back to ADR.
Go and have a conversation.
Go and have conversation. Talk about, is this something that can be resolved, before you then go to combat to start, But, for me, I've seen that very combative nature, of the government. In Maryland, people have been staying in the place for like 13, 15 years, paying ground rent, paying all of this, have approvers, and, you can, yes, it's passed through, the place is passed through canal. We've seen those kind of things before. A way, the government can come, talk to people, do a press conference about it. This is the resolution.
Let's go this way. Is there a better way to handle it and all of that?
And sign one or two things. If we're going to have to definitely demolish, bring your document, just like the federal government did with the Coastal Road, which I think was fantastic because I was following the, I think that was fantastic. But, for Lagos, it's not been so fantastic. But from what I heard a lot of things are going to change going forward. But the government policies, the government can do better. And also the developers can
do better also.
We developers can do better as well. Also. That's my answer.
I want to add to that. Yeah, I want to come from, I don't want to limit mine to Lagos State alone. The monetary policies are actually one of the problems we're having. Yeah. Nola mentioned 20% sometime, and
30-something%.
Do you understand me? Imagine you getting a facility with about 25%,
That's
interest.
what you started with.
Oh yeah, and a year or 2 years into the project, government just wake up one day and CBN is saying doing 30. Obviously, when CBN does 30, the banks will do what? They will add their markup and all of that. So people are getting money with up to 40% currently. And what kind of development do you want to do with that? The government is not providing infrastructure. We're doing that on our own. Now, to be able to get a facility to support the business, you can't get it. Because also why? It is too expensive for the product that you want to produce. You talk about documentation. Even when you want to, you have every other factors working for you to be able to get a facility from the bank. What about title? There are titles that have stayed in one table for the past 5 years. They have not moved. Boils down to the same government. So government must bringing it down to Lagos State because real estate, because the land is the oil of Lagos. Yeah, I expect Lagos State to do better. Lagos State should be able to look at the angle of more of collaboration. Because it is obvious that we are practically providing everything for ourselves. Realizing this, I expect government to do much more. Government should be not just being combative, because that is what we all see currently. Government should look at collaborative measures. How do we work with these people? Yes, I agree that some developers have not done well, but the big father, which is government, cannot look at a much more better ways to handle issues than just demolition. The last 3 weeks that heavens open up on us in Lagos, we also what happened. So you ask yourself, what is the effect of the demolition? If we can have a Lagos that flooded after all the demolition. So it really shows that is not the solution to our problem. So government should do more. Engaging, let's look at things together. Because, I do not want to sit down here and assume that it's only those in government that knows it all. So they should be able to tap from people outside so that we can, at the end of the day, we all want a better city. Exactly. If Lagos is where all of us want it to be, you will build one house and probably go and sleep for 1 year. Just eat the value. Do you understand? But the way it is today, you will probably do 10 projects and you cannot sit. You will continue to want, because that's the only way to stay afloat. So government should do more. We expect government to do more. They're doing so well. Lagos is crime-wise, we're better off. Yeah. We're way better off. It is curtailed. You can easily go into your estate, into your house and sleep well in Lagos. Yeah. The places major places compared to some other states. Yeah, so government has done well, but they can do more. To encourage, knowing the value real estate brings to bear in our economy. Yeah, the government should do more.
So collaborations with investors. Do you want to say anything else, Mr. Akintola?
Yeah, they've said it all. Collaborative approach, we always get positive results. So we're appealing to government, if they're listening, to do more. They're doing a lot. They're engaging developers too right then. And I think in terms of provision of infrastructure, we can just they should double up effort. We're willing to work with them. We work with a lot of government agencies, Lagos State Building Control, Lagos State School Permit Authority.
Safety Commission.
We train their people. We speak to them during training. We collaborate with them. But things can only get better. Like Nola said, you're your own local government in Nigeria as a developer. You're providing water, providing electricity, you're providing
everything.
The road. So all of these lead to increase in
cost of
course, then high
is passed to the buyer.
Yes.
So all of this can help. So government need to incentivize us. As we begin to increase investment, because we have some of these people that can take their money to any part of the world. So if you decide to put your money in Lagos, I can decide to take my money and build in America. I can go and build anywhere in the world. But if I decide to invest here, I need not to be punished. I should be incentivized for investing here.
To be supported.
Real estate is a very high, or construction is a high employer of labor. In a single house, with the way we construct here, people carrying concrete on their head and all of that, you can have almost 500 people work from foundation to the end for a single project. Yeah. And what does that? What that does is that limits crime. You cannot carry concrete in the afternoon and go and carry a gun in the night to go and steal.
The energy wouldn't be there.
Anywhere you see high level of construction, there is low crime rate. I grew up in Abuja. I saw the city develop from the scratch. Everyone was involved in construction. The crime rate was almost zero. Because by the time you come back, you are knocked out. You just go to sleep. You just go to sleep. You can't carry concrete in the afternoon and come and carry gun. So you're going to sleep. Even for me as a developer, I'm knocked out in the night. So government needs to increase. You want to see if any cities develop, if any city is making progress. Check the number of cranes check the level of number of cranes, check the level of construction activity
that are going on.
You know, yeah. So there's a great. This city is thriving. You know, government needs to do more, provide infrastructure. They're doing their bit, but need to do more. And we're willing to partner with them to ensure that's it.
Thank you so much. I was going to end it here, but I have just one last question. Okay. And that is, I mean, you brought it up and I'm like, you know, we need to touch this before we leave. Demolitions. I know I'm excited about the fact that these top developers seated right here, none of their projects have been demolished. No. And a lot of people, especially Nigerians in diaspora, they are demolishing the whole Lagos. You know, I do lots of videos centered around diasporans and I get their feedback every time and it's like, Lagos, very soon, even you yourself, you have a place to stay. And I'm like, no, it's not like that.
Yeah.
But it looks like I'm talking from the broker's perspective.
Because you want to sell.
Yeah. So we have developers here seated on this table who have built countless homes and non-demolished. So I want you all to touch that aspect, you know, briefly. What can you say, Mr. Nola, about this demolition currently?
To be very honest, I'll just say from my own point of view, we as Veritasiums, we've built, last time I counted, it's almost 1,000 houses. No single one has been demolished. Before we buy a property, we do our proper DD. In fact, apart from the fact that this is how I started real estate, by helping people do due diligence on land, that's how I actually started. I still give to an external lawyer, solicitor to do that and give me the legal opinion on the property we're about to buy. And then we make sure that all of our documents, everything intact before we commence construction of any building. Yes, that's from ours. But if we then look at it holistically, from the demolitions that happened recently, the one in Ikota and then the one in Maryland, I think the one in Ikota actually is, I went there myself. I saw that this is a clear obstruction on the canal. Can that be negotiated out? Maybe no. If I was the minister of the commissioner, would I have done that? I would have. The one in Maryland, I've not been there. The one in Ikota, actually, I went there. I think that, there's clear obstruction on the canal. However, I mean, again, like I said, are there supposed to be some form of communications and engagement before the sudden demolition? Maybe yes, because obviously you cannot just send people off parking after a lot of them.
Go and just pull down.
A lot of them claimed, a lot of
they never got to here. But do you think that is possible?
I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure. Okay. But I think that the commissioner mentioned that they were served. I think I should believe him. He's a lawyer, so he shouldn't have any reason to lie on that. So that was a very clear. If Lagos State then we then start having obstruction on canals and everything, everywhere then becomes flooded. That then brings down all the value of the property that we even are building, the ones that are even not demolished in the long run.
Yes, exactly.
So, imagine everybody knows that, or everybody thinks that, whenever it's flooded, Lagos Island is always flooded, everywhere is flooded. So all of the properties that all the luxury building that he's doing, all of the luxury or the, where everybody is doing, it then becomes watered down.
Yes.
Value becomes watered down.
Oh, yes.
So I think the governments should do the necessary stuff. But again, like he has rightly said, one of the very main investment strategy, or two things that we look at investment, is not just returns. The first is safety, any kind of investment. So you must spend money to do a DD on the property you're trying to buy. From, the building approval, the consent, the whatever, and everything that you need to do is a very important investment strategy, And by the grace of God, there are a lot of developers that's built countless houses. He's one of my mentors. I look up to him, he's built a lot of houses, in Lagos. I don't think anyone has been demolished yet. I have built a lot as well, he's built a lot as well. No one has been, so that means there's still a lot of property in Lagos that will never be demolished.
Way more than what has been demolished, actually.
Of course, because his bad news trends faster.
Oh, it goes faster.
It goes faster. And then, the diasporans rely on YouTube and social media for information, right? And then, but, hearing it from authorities in the space now can probably
sway the,
So that is my own submission. Right, that's my own submission. A lot of properties have not been
on this issue. Luckily, you talked about Didi, which I think we have worked on as a company. Yeah, the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road is actually happening in front of two of my projects, Bloom Heaven and Bloom Towers. When I went into Bloom Heaven, the whole of the place was complete swamp. There was no development around the corridor. I did the road that got us to the place. Yeah, I did the filling and everything. Yeah, but right there when it was that ugly swamp, we went to a land at the back, climbed the fence, and we were able to take our coordinates. I took someone from fiscal planning then. We confirmed it. He went to check and told me the land, my fence line is 17 meters from the coastal road.
So there had been an existing...
Oh, definitely. That was what we did in 2021. 17 meters away from it. So when the coastal road issues were going on, I was relaxed. But trust government. They came around one time. Before I knew it, I saw a mark on my wall, 2.4 inside, which means it will affect, because I have a setback of about 3.5 meters, So what it means that it will take away my fence. We waited. That was February. After 2 months, they came again. I didn't do anything. They remarked, and at the end of my fence, it didn't affect where they marked initially. It now affected, at the end of the land, it affected 1.074 meters. Being, we will always respect government, we will always obey government. I told my guys, do a fence inside. Leave that fence that is there. Do a fence inside. I actually told them to just do the raft and wait. When government comes, and in case they decide to pull that part of the fence down, we'll just put blocks on top. Guess what? They came after 2 weeks. They did another realignment. As I talk to you right now, that place is about 10 meters away from my fence. That's the last alignment that they're working on right now. That's the 4th alignment that they did. So what happened? Because we checked, when all these things were happening, I was very confident that it can't not. Do you understand me? What about the Bloom Towers project? People were like, that's the coastal road. Like I was mentioning to you before we came in here. I said, I was never scared of it's going to affect my, that land. Rather, what I was thinking was, if it goes on the water side, it may obstruct my entrance, which is facing the coastal road. I don't know, it would not give us the kind of ambience that we wanted. That was what I said to you, So that was because we did our own due diligence. My Bloom Residence project, people were saying, the Osapa, the Kana, and all of that. What did I do before we went to site? If you go and check all our development, you see that our road is usually on the middle. But for Bloom Residence, we put the road on the side. So development on the left-hand side. Why did we do that? We wanted our building to be 14 meters away from the Kana. Yes. So that whatever happened, the right of way for Kana is usually 6 meters. Do you understand me? So for the very first time, that's my project that are traces an apartment. The road is in the middle, but that one we put the road on the side of the canal. So we are 40 meters away. So when people were doing demolition, I was relaxed. I went for the meeting that the commissioner had. The drainage officer, I brought them to the site. When they were doing the demolition, everybody was scared around the corridor. I was never scared because I know that worst case scenario, my road will reduce, but my building will never be affected. So people must Yes, government sometimes inconsistency, but you must ensure that you place yourself in such a way that even if government decide to be on the other side, you are not in trouble.
In trouble.
Yes, that's what I would advise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Akintola?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to repeat anything they've said. It was what is correct. I mean, it's good to know that government is listening from what Blessing has said. But what I can assure buyers, and investors is that even developers, is that you can do business in this Lagos, do it the right way,
yes,
and the investment is safe. A lot of them have evaluated the fact that none of our building none is even being marked.
No.
We have a company policy. We do not move society. Even if it's going to take us 10 years to get approval, anywhere you see Prestigious Homes Limited, you say our board, know that project has all the building plan approval, fiscal planning, Lagos State building control approval. Because we don't want to take that. These are huge investments. You don't want to be penny wise, pounds foolish, right? So we ensure that we dot all our I's and cross all our T's. If it's going to take us a long time to do that, that's where the issue. Like I said, Nola said he's had,
consent.
Yes, he's had paperwork in government for 2 years. So those are the things. But I'm not sure you're bidding that project yet. No, because he's waiting it out. He's trying to sort that out so that the title risk is zero to his investors. So those are the things we sort out in the background, in the back end. It takes time. Government needs to.
It takes money.
It takes money.
Definitely.
But then go through all of those. Do
the right thing.
Then start. So that even if government come in the future, you can present your case. Right, but what a lot of these people do, some people do, is they go to kind of change the process. Hey, I can't wait for that 2 years. You quickly do Nigeria factor, and then you start. Then we're looking at you. So it's a failure both in government, also of the guys doing. They need the risk. That's the truth of the matter. Then when all the chips are down, people will now go to it is this versus this. So I don't want to go into all of those controversies.
Ethnic coloration,
those are false narrative. Those things are unfounded. But I encourage everyone, developer, get your approval. You need to sleep in the building permit office until you get your approval. Get it before you move to site. And we work very closely with these guys. There's a lot of reform. The general manager of the State Fiscal Planning Authority. You could see that. You see the release on video. They gave me. I got approval in 7 working days.
Oh.
Lagos State, because I told them I was going to test the system. They roll out a 10-day building permit approval, and I told them I'm going to test if it works. They didn't even know. I didn't go there to submit myself. My guys, we went through the process. My guys submitted. Normally, we add all the paperwork because they said once you have all your paperwork, submit to give you approval in 10 working days. I got my approval in 7 working days.
Oh, nice.
I did not pay 1 naira to anybody in bribe. So they are committed to it. There's a lot. We're working. We're on their neck because we can't do this business without them. So we challenge them that, see, you need to reform the process. And these guys are telling you, right? I'm telling everybody that don't know. There's a lot of reform going on. The guy just came back from the UK on the training. The general manager and some of the team doing they just came back from the UK on the training. So the government is doing all they can do to ensure that these guys are adopting the best practices, that is available in other parts of the world. Lagos State building control as well. Even this morning I've been there to have a meeting. They are going to see their new office. They are ensuring they put in the GM as well. Akintola is progressing. Yes. These guys are progressing. They are trying to. These are learned people. These are guys that know what they're doing. They are, they've been in the business in the department for a long time. They've seen all kind of stuff, and they're trying to build a modern Lagos. They're trying to see how important all these are.
We all have a role to play.
Driving IGR, so they are doing. So let's just collaborate with them. Let's get our approvals, and then if they come, then we can then cry wolf. But you can do business here with all of this risk mitigated, fully mitigated. At the end of the day, if you do all else, you can. And then government say they need this for overriding public interest. Don't forget that Land Use Act, all land belongs to government. 1979 Land Use Act, and it is only being released for the purpose of development from time to time. So if government said this is required for overriding public interest, in other words, your house is here. If you don't put this your house down, it can cost 1,000 lives, or it can cost the place is going to
because of what government wants to do or whatever.
Want to do, government will compensate you. Only if you've done the right thing. So that's what the issue. But if you don't bring people, you don't have approval for that building, for instance, you don't even have governor's consent, you cannot show us evidence of purchase. That's where the story, then that person will now go to social media and start talking. You see what I mean? Government can take any land for variety all over. It's not only Nigeria.
Yes.
It's not only Nigeria. But that is one out of 1,000 or 1 out of 1 million.
Oh yeah.
You see, that is not the norm. Okay, so please, people should be rest assured that their investment is protected. They should check the company they are dealing with. All these are reputable people on this table. These are some of the best.
Lagos is still a safe haven.
Do that. They shouldn't take our word for it. They should do their due diligence.
Yes.
When they're doing any real estate purchase. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this with me, Key to Keys. And I'm sure my listeners, they've learned a lot today. And Lagos is a safe place. We're here to change the narrative. Lagos is a safe place to invest as long as the right things are done. And of course, it is interesting to note that, like you said, there's a reform taking place. We want a better Lagos. Absolutely. We've all prayed for a better Lagos and Nigeria. Now, these things are happening. Of course, there's going to be little tears here and there. That's to those who did not do the right thing. Everybody here, they have several developments, thousands of developments, and none have actually been demolished. That's to tell you that whatever we're seeing in the media right now is just a tiny fraction of the actual truth.
It's not 100%
at all. It's just a tiny fraction. There are lots of developers out there doing the right thing, lots of great investments there. So make sure you keep staying tuned, because we will be dishing out great information on real estate that is happening in Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much, Mr. Nola. Thank you so much, Mr. Akintola. Thank you, Mr. Blessing.
Excellent. Thanks for this conversation. Thanks for the opportunity to have this conversation.
Thank you. Straight up.
Let's have more of this.
Yes. It's a nice one. You can see the heads being put together.
Yes.
And, breaking this down, in pieces. So it was a great section. I expect that viewers would have learned one or two things.
Yes, definitely.
Get much more comfort than what they had before, to be able to, come and do business in Lagos. Good.
Thank you very much. And if you have questions out there, please make sure you reach out, you send a message, because of my developers right here, they are all here to answer your questions, to help you make informed decisions. So please reach out to us, send your messages, send your questions. We're here to answer your questions. We're here to make real estate investment here seamless, smooth. Thank you so much once again, and thank you for watching. I'll be back again Thursday, 7 p.m.